Why do we order our adjectives in certain ways, big, blue house rather than blue, big house? I'm wondering why certain adjective-noun combinations often follow a consistent order. Examples. The non-standard constructions either look wrong or don't read as smoothly. Is this a learned bias? I have no recollection of learning anything about adjectival order in school, so I assume that any preference is simply because we rarely hear anyone using the inverted construction. So, to get to the crux of my question, is this just something we pick up because that's how we learned it, or is there some sort of grammatical guideline from earlier in English's history that governs our way of speaking and writing? Or a third option, does grammar set the tendency but allow the writer/speaker to choose at their own discretion whether the rule can be broken in order to provide emphasis? I realize that this is a pretty convoluted question. I tried my best to make it as clear as possible, and for all I know it makes no sense at all. But I've been wondering about this one for a while, and I'd appreciate any answer regarding its grammar, history, or origin. If there is a sort of grammatical hierarchy for adjectives, I'd like an explanation as to what it is, the specifics, then how it came about, the reason for its existence. Two more examples, primarily supplementary. I think that these two, or perhaps, are reasonably invertible, and neither of the options is particularly dissonant, and they don't really emphasize either quality over the other. Is it because both adjectives describe similar aspects of a person? Or is it something else?
Melissa Mohr at CS Monitor writes, explaining the royal order of adjective placementi, just finished reading a detective enjoyable little novel. Or was it a little detective enjoyable novel? No, it was an enjoyable little detective novel. The first two sentences are difficult to understand because they violate a rule that native English speakers grasp intuitively. Multiple adjectives must be placed in a particular order. People learning English must memorize what is sometimes called the royal order of adjectives, opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose, noun, and then make decisions about which adjectives fit into which categories. Teachers of English as a second language encourage students to remember the acronym OSISCOMP. OSISCOMP, linguistics, mnemonic, order of adjectives, opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose, Wikipedia. Native speakers are often delighted when they learn about this law and discover how flawlessly they apply it. It even went viral in 2016 when a journalist tweeted about things native English speakers know but don't know we know. The tweet attached a paragraph by etymologist Mark Forsyth, explaining the adjective order rule and giving an example that uses all the categories according to the OSISCOMP hierarchy, a lovely little old rectangular green French silver whittling knife. The hierarchy is not absolute, and there is some wiggle room among the fact categories size, age, and so on in the middle. Contributors to a global grammar discussion board, for example, argued about whether a new red oval table sounds better than a new oval red table, even though by OSISCOMP the latter would be correct. The order of fact versus opinion adjectives, however, can't be altered. Opinion comes first. Surprisingly, this hierarchy seems to be nearly universal among languages that have English-like adjectives. Not all languages do. Linguists Richard Sproat and Ji Lin Shi report that parts of OSASCOMP fold in Mandarin, though only for pairs of adjectives. In Mandarin and English it's size shape, so a small green vase is fine but a green small vase is not. The Dravidian language Kannada size shape color. How did such different, unrelated languages end up with practically the same royal order of adjectives? Linguists disagree. Benjamin Lee Werf argued that the order reflects a way of thinking about inherent versus incidental attributes of things. A thing's purpose and the material from which it's made are inherent, and thus placed closer to the noun than its age or size. Doctors Sproat and Shi frame it instead in terms of absolute properties such as color, which are closer to the noun, versus relative properties like size, which are further away. Whatever the reason though, it's a big black dog, and not a black big dog in scattered languages around the world.
Why do we? Questions about language are totally unanswerable based on our current scientific and philosophical knowledge. The nature and role of what we call grammar in human language is barely understood, and subject to various discussions and theories. It's inconceivable the even more subtle why question you ask here could be answered. One might as well ask, quickly explain consciousness, say.
I suggest the reason of order is that we put more important words first. For example, big gray wolf. We hear first word big, and immediately we realize that we need pay attention. If we hear first gray, we should listen further and don't realize at the moment How important is the information? But in according with this hypothesis, first word should be the noun? Maybe. But maybe not. And for life of ancient human, size, big, is more important than the noun.
Tom Scott did a great video on this a few years ago. This URL. According to the video, there is a rough guideline that adjectives should be ordered as follows. General opinion. Specific opinion. Size. Shape. Age. Colorado, UR. Origin. Construction. He admits there are many exceptions and there is no consensus.